Where shall we start? I think we should probably start, not for the first time this season, and probably won't be the last, with Manchester United. So much to talk about. That awful display at home to Tottenham a week ago on Super Sunday, then 2-0 up against Porto in Europe midweek, and then ending up drawing that game. And Boyd, there's so much to talk about when we come to United. I feel always a sense of, well, we've been here before over the course of last season and before that when it comes to Manchester United. But one thing that Erik Ten Hag keeps on talking about, whatever's happened, is progress. Are you seeing any sign, any evidence of progress so far this season?
No, none. I think when you look at Manchester United, obviously worldwide, huge football club, but he seems to just get a result whenever he needs it to relieve some of the pressure. But the reality is, it's not going away. I mean, Manchester United are a million miles off where they need to be. I
mean, that underlines it, doesn't it? They're 17th so far for goals scored, only 5. Open play goals, 3. I mean, whichever metric you're looking at the moment, it doesn't look good for Ten Hag and United.
The thing is, I mean, you could understand if you're getting clean sheets and you're winning games that way, and you know it's 1-0 and stuff, but there's just nothing about them. There's just it's slow, lethargic. You know, you look at Manchester United in terms of the past. I know it's very difficult to speak about, you know, when you go back years ago because it seems as if it's a different football club. But there was one thing about Manchester United, it was always fast, aggressive, in your face, attacking style of play. I mean, it is a million miles away from that right now. You have to look at, I think, some of the comments, obviously, Christian Eriksen's comments a couple of weeks ago. You then look at Benny McCarthy.
What, as in they wanted it more?
Yeah, I mean, if you're someone in that dressing room and you're one of the experienced players, but he's coming out and saying that there's players wanted it more than you. I mean, what is going on? I mean, it's a professional footballer, for that to be labelled at you from one of your players, it's not right. And then it's been backed up with Benny McCarthy done an interview. I mean, maybe sour grapes when he leaves the football club, but he does an interview during the week and he's having a go as well, saying, you know, if some of the players trained the way that some of the other ones, they wouldn't be in the position they're in. That just can't happen.
But he talked about
it can't happen.
Tactically, he respects Erik Ten Hag, but when it comes to passion from Erik Ten Hag, he's got a big question.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, at the end of the day, when you look at the football club and where it's been for a number of years now, I mean, progression, I don't see any. I don't see any. As I said, you might get a result somewhere along the lines, and all of a sudden, I mean, it's like putting a plaster over a broken leg. That's what it is. They're a million miles away from where they need to be. And I know we can sit here and, you know, there's some people who say you only need to look at the passionate Manchester United ex-players, support. They've had enough. You listen to them, and I mean, when you're a manager and you're openly, you know that there was interviews, they'd spoken, they went and looked at other people, other managers during the summer, and you're still in that job. I know it's very difficult to walk away, but if you get any self-respect, I've had enough. You've openly went and spoke to other people. You are looking for someone else. You've not got MD. I'm away. And then all of a sudden, there's a new contract to sweeten it. It's wrong, mate. It's wrong.
Boy, did you believe that if Erik Ten Hag was to be relieved of his job, the next manager who comes in can change this? Because I seem to see it's a common theme. Manager change, but the performances and where Manchester United are going, that doesn't seem to change.
So where there for you, Dawes, does the problem lie in terms of the culture at the club at the moment?
Well, they've tried to change everything from top to bottom, and this has been an ongoing process for a long time.
Erik Ten Hag's players.
Yeah,
he's brought a lot of
defending Erik Ten Hag. Yeah. I'm asking you the question because if they change a manager, does the same thing happen again, which has been happening for manager after manager since Sir Alex Ferguson left? It's never got back to where Manchester United should be, in my opinion. But I look now and starting to think, is it Erik Ten Hag? Is he a tactician? Is he a motivator? He's definitely not a motivator from an outset that we look at. He's not on the touchline ranting and raving, trying to get the best out of his players. And as a manager, one thing you have to do, if your players aren't quite as good as everyone else, which I don't think this Manchester United is anywhere near a challenging the title, or even getting into the top 4. This is Manchester United. They're a million miles away, what you've just said. But that has to come from, you have to have something else, Boydie. You have to have a fight, a desire, a bit of energy on the touchline. I think that's what Benny McCarthy's saying.
And just picking up on that, Clinton, the very minimum requirement, listen, in any job, but for any football players, that when you pull on that shirt, whatever club it's for, is that you give maximum effort.
100%.
Are you seeing that from United players under Ten Hag?
No, I'm not seeing it. And I said it listen, Man United are still the biggest football club in the world. When I was playing, you'd walk up the motorway if Man United came knocking on the door because they're a fantastic team. I've said this and I've said it many a times. I might not have been at the level of them, and I definitely wasn't of the levels of the top strikers. But you know the one thing I did? When I crossed that white line, I give 100%. And if I'm playing for Man United Football Club, one of the best, I will give 100%. That's a given. That is a given. I don't care who you are. You should be tracking back. If your fullback's running off you, track the fullback and run back. Ten Hag, I look at him sometimes and Rod for his own back. In the midweek, they're playing. Marcus Rashford is playing well. Then you decide to take him off because he doesn't track the fullback. But then when you're asked about it, you say, I'm rotating for Villa. Don't worry about Aston Villa. Worry about Porto.
He said he wasn't defending well enough.
He's not defending well enough. I understand that, but he's a threat going forward. I totally get that.
And he scored the opener.
He scored the opener and he assisted Højlund for the second one. So I'm saying there seems to me like there's a problem in and around that dressing room at the moment. And the buck lies with the manager. He has to get the best out of this group of players. He's not doing it.
And so just looking at that opening goal, I mean, Mickey van der Ven, wonderful athlete, but given the freedom of Old Trafford on that left, in many ways, there's that opening goal from Spurs and the way that United players fail to react to that run epitomise where they find themselves at the moment as a team.
Well, I think that's problems that we've seen for a long time, and we kept saying, well, once Manchester United get those players back fit and available, we'll start seeing consistency, we'll start seeing a better defensive unit, because defensively they had so many injuries last season. Now they've got the players that Ten Hag wants in those positions, so that's when it's a worry. You can look at it from a brilliant Tottenham perspective, fantastic from Van der Ven, the fact that he picks the ball up there, he says he sees space, he runs into that space, and then when he gets the opportunity, gets his head up and sees Brendan Johnson. But from a defensive perspective, initially Rashford loses the ball, but then if you watch his reaction, Garnacho's reaction, they're not sprinting back in, they're just walking, they're leaving it. Then the midfielders try and come across, they can't get across. You look at De Ligt, he starts his run to get back and defend that little bit too late, and then at the back post, Dalot just watches Brendan Johnson, straight away puts his arm up and goes, that was my player. So they're sort of basic individual errors, but collectively as a team, defensively, they're too easy to play against.
And Dawson, when you then look at the myriad of chances that Spurs have after that moment, I mean, it was open game for them at Old Trafford, which we've not seen in the glorious years gone by for United. But where is that coming from when players aren't tracking back, like we've just seen in that opening goal? Where does the fault lie? It can't just solely be with the manager.
No, I echo everything what Sue said there. Tracking back, running, desire. I mean, it was way too easy. They were all over the place. I mean, I want to give credit to the opposition. I mean, Spurs were brilliant, but Manchester United played into that hand. I mean, look how open they are, Manchester United. This is 1-0, and this could have made it 2-0 when Brendan Johnson hits the ball. They're all over the place, and one goal can't determine the outcome of the whole game. If you go behind, you can't just down tools, or it seems like, and then your whole game plan goes out the window. You still have to have a structure, and that comes from your manager and then from the players crossing the white line. But Manchester United just went. When that first goal went in, or even before that, they were all over the place. Spurs were far superior to what United were.
You look at all over the pitch. I mean, we've all been there when, it's tough times, and, there's nobody doing anything at any speed. Nobody does anything sharp. You look at Ugarte there trying to get across there, he's miles off it. That's his role in there to go across and defend that area there. Van der Ven just goes straight through the middle of the goal. Straight through. Nobody, it's just, you look after that, you cover that position, you do that. I mean, if you must be, if you're one of the ex-Manchester United players, you must be sitting there thinking to yourself, I mean, what is going on with this football club? A club that we built all the way up, and you looked at the achievements that they had back in the day, and everybody was speaking about them at a level. They're an unbelievable team, going to Europe and dominating games. They must look at it now and be embarrassed.
Do you know the thing that I don't get, though, is that these are players that he's brought in. Yeah. So, when you're saying they're not giving that amount of effort or that endeavour, like, they should be, because 100%. Surely they've got a relationship with Ten Hag from previously, so they want to come to the club. So I can't understand why. So then, is it something tactically? Is it something that maybe the structure, why it looks like they're not doing that?
I think it could be training. I think it could be training in terms of, I don't know, but we've been there where it's been long sessions, and all of a sudden everybody looks as if it's just like lethargic. You're just plodding through training sessions. There doesn't seem to be any sharpness about Manchester United.
You can say that, but then there's other managers that have gone into clubs and they've worked hard in training. You would know as a player, Boyd. You just said it there, Ugarte. He can see danger. He just doesn't want to do it.
Clinton, do you think, when you look at some of the pictures from last weekend, Manu coming off, not looking happy, listen, no players happy to be taken
No,
off unless
but
they're
you're not
injured.
happy.
Is there an attitude problem at United at the moment?
I
for
don't
you?
know the player, so I can't say there's an attitude problem. He doesn't want to come off. He's a good player, a good young player, so he's not happy at the moment. He probably is disappointed. I don't think that's too much of a bad attitude. He's just saying, basically, I think that's more of an injury he's saying there. So I wouldn't say Kobe Mainoo, no chance, has got a bad attitude. He's just saying.
But generally, the team as a whole, do you see any problem?
I wouldn't say attitude. I just think they're not producing at the moment. It's nowhere near good enough.
They're not
at the
bad
moment.
players.
They're not bad players.
So
You're just
it
not
is attitude.
or they don't want to do it. Basically, they don't want to do it. They don't want to do it when they're crossing that line. But are they good players, though?
That is the
think
question
they're
I
good
was going to
players.
ask you,
We
Clinton.
think they're good players. Are
Yeah.
they good players? That's what we got to say, Boydie. Are they good
Yeah.
players? Because I don't think any footballer goes onto the pitch not wanting to do it.
Well, I tell you what,
But
if you go back
but
to
that
Mason
for
Mount at
Mount,
Chelsea,
doesn't it underline
if you
some
go
of the
back to
problems?
Chelsea,
That's
Mason.
That's
but
frustration.
if you go back when Manchester United signed Mason Mount, you're like, that's a good signing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He's miles off.
But and he's had a lot of injuries, but. Yeah, that's Martinez, and that's frustration though. That is because you're not getting the kick of the ball. Tottenham have been outstanding, which Dawson said, so you have to give credit to Tottenham. And it's a late tackle on Maddison. That is frustration. That is nothing to do with attitude. That is a frustration that we ain't getting a kick of the ball. Martinez is getting a runaround by Solanke, Johnson, Kulusevski, Werner. They're causing problems. So that is a frustration.
I think last season we were saying there were like moments of brilliance that was winning games for them. We're not even quite seeing that now. So we were saying maybe they're not playing as a team, but we'd suddenly see a moment from Bruno Fernandes. And I don't think they're maybe at the levels either. So it's collectively where the problems
But
are.
you wouldn't put it past them. You wouldn't put it past Ten Hag to go to Villa Park tomorrow
No.
and produce something.
Yeah.
And then it's like, it almost feels like another stay of execution for Ten Hag.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I think Boydie mentioned that early on, that that's what they're capable of doing. That when everything's going against him, like we saw it against Tottenham, they were so outplayed in terms of they just looked so disjointed on and off the ball. Then you thought midweek they need to get a result. They go 2-0 up, probably, not playing at the very best, but they go 2-0 up, couldn't see it out. They end up drawing the game, and you just think against Aston Villa, they have to pick something up, they have to get something. And they have got players that are capable of doing that, but if you're just looking at two teams at the moment, the positions that they're in, it's difficult to
You know
see.
what football is about? And everyone will tell you, it's confidence. At the moment, though, confidence plays a big factor in it. They're not confident. The players are not confident. So they know straight away, as soon as they make a mistake, they're down, they're confident. As soon as they can see the goal, you're thinking, well, I'm looking at Man United there, and I'm thinking, when I've seen Man United of years gone by, where are the leaders in that team?
Clinton,
where are
confidence.
the leaders? But where are the leaders, though, Boydie? In that team, where are the leaders?
But confidence in terms of getting on the ball and making passes.
Yeah.
You don't need confidence to run about.
Yeah, they're not running around, but they're also not confident as well.
But
where are the
leadership
leaders?
breeds confidence.
That's
doesn't
what I'm
it?
saying. And
Yeah.
where are the leaders in that team? There's no leaders in that team at the moment.
Dawson, I want to ask you about what may or may not happen going forward, because today Brailsford, Barada, Dan Ashworth, Jason Wilcox, they were all there last week, so Jim Ratcliffe wasn't. He's been asked this week about Ten Hag, inevitably, and he said it in terms of his future, didn't want to answer the question, but he does have faith in Erik Ten Hag going forward. He's understood to be at the Villa game tomorrow. If it goes badly for United tomorrow against Villa, with an international break now coming, a 2-week break, what do you think happens next at United?
Well, I think it was strange that Sir Jim Radcliffe came out and said that. I don't know why he needs to come out and expose that and say he's not making the decision. Well, he's the hierarchy, he's the governor, and it's really, really strange. I've got no idea what is going on at Manchester United. There's no hiding that in the summer. The week before the cup final, they were looking to change Erik Ten Hag. Then he gets the unbelievable result against Manchester City, and then still speculation around his job. 2 weeks later, he then goes, we'll give you a new contract. It baffled me. It really, really did. I didn't like the way that was handled, and I don't like the way that Sir Jim Radcliffe has come out and said that yesterday. I'm listening thinking, it just smells of something that it's going, what's going to happen.
I think what he's meaning there, though, Dawson, is he's put a structure in place, so maybe they will make the decisions, but he's going to have an input, surely.
Surely has to decide if your manager is going to stay or go.
Yeah.
And if they come out and say, right, regardless of these results, like Erik Ten Hag said, there's progress. I'm not so sure there's progress, but he keeps telling everyone there is. Jim Ratcliffe has to make a decision, go, look, he's staying regardless. This ends all speculation, whether it's good, bad, indifferent. It's bad at the moment.
But you know what,
Results are
Dawes?
bad,
He's won
performances
2
are bad.
trophies, and he keeps telling you that.
He keeps
I'm just
telling
saying,
everyone.
he's telling
Yeah.
the whole world. So when they lose 2 or 3 games, he's won 2 trophies, so that leads back to that.
And
You're
trust
only
the
as-
process.
Exactly. You're only as good as your last game, exactly.
I mean, it's also going to be costly, were they to get rid of Erik Ten Hag, because in a year of cost-cutting, figures around £17 million being quoted if they were to choose to go in a different direction. Boydie, do you think this time, 2 weeks' time, Erik ten Hag will still be at the wheel at Old Trafford?
I think we've all touched on it. Would you be surprised if they go and get a result at Villa Park? No, you wouldn't. You wouldn't. So, do I think he'll be still in charge? Yes, I do, because...
Whatever happens tomorrow.
Yeah, I think he will be, because I don't think... You know, you speak there about Sir Jim Radcliffe. Nobody wants to make a decision. Nobody wants to make a decision. And that's probably why he'll stay in the job. I mean, the whole football club is just broken.
Anyone thinks he won't be come 2 weeks' time?
I think he'll be there.
Okay.
I do, just because of everything that went off in the summer and give him a new contract. Because that was the time...
The contracts are irrelevant.
Yeah,
now,
but they were looking round, Boydie. Why did they not change it? Because there was no one out there who they thought could improve.
Yeah.
That was the reason.
And I think the fact that they then backed him as well.
Yeah.
So it's like you've gone and said, yes, we'll give you a new contract and here's some more new players. So
and also 6 of his starters against Tottenham, Ten Hag signings.
Yeah.
But at the same time, changed all his backroom staff.
As well.
And that's, as a manager, when you're more or less being dictated to, that your staff's been changed, doesn't look good. Doesn't look good. I bet you wish you could do it.
You must be joking. You must be joking. Complicated though it is. I'm very happy sat here. By the way, Man United friend just texting said, this is so depressing. We are going to move on. It may get better. We will find out on Super Sunday tomorrow.